Yes, yes, ma'am.
Can we start, or we are waiting for
We
everybody
are
to?
live. We are live.
Okay. A very good morning to our, good evening, sorry. A very good evening to our distinguished guests and viewers. The International Yoga Day marked on 21st June since 2015 is a gift of India to the world. The idea is to mark the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. June 21st, as the International Day of Yoga, was proposed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the United Nations General Assembly in 2014. It was unanimously accepted, and from then on, it has been marked and celebrated the world over as the International Day of Yoga. Today, to commemorate and celebrate the 6th International Day of Yoga, Science India Forum Middle East countries, in association with Ministry of Ayush Government of India and Embassy of India, has arranged for a live talk on the topic The Science of Ageless Body and Timeless Mind by Dr. Indranill Basu Ray. Science India Forum Middle East have been promoting science by arranging informative sessions benefiting all. Before we begin today's session, let us all observe a minute's silence to pay homage to the Indian soldiers who were recently martyred on the Indo-China border. Let's pray for their I would now like to invite Science India Forum President of UAE Chapter, Sri Satish Krishnanji, to deliver the welcome speech. Mr. Satish Krishnan, yes.
Namaste. Good evening to all. A hearty welcome to this second ongoing session of yoga and science. This was a topic which we chose after great deliberation, in which we wanted to know the science behind yoga. It's my pleasure to announce our chief speaker, Dr. Indranill Basu Ray, who is a professor in Memphis and also an ardent yoga guru. Welcome, sir, to this August gathering. It's my pleasure also to welcome Padma Shri Vaidya Rajesh Kotecha, Honorable Secretary, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, who would be giving his address to the gathering. I also extend my welcome to His Excellency Pawan Kapoor, Honorable Ambassador of India to UAE, who also would be giving his address to the gathering. Also welcome our patriarch, Shri Jayant Sahasrabudhe, National Organizing Secretary of Vigyan Bharati, of which is our parent organization. Welcome, sir. He also would be addressing this gathering. Welcome to all the distinguished guests who are joined us on this webinar directly, and to all the international guests who are joining us on Facebook Live and on YouTube Live. On this note, I welcome Dr. Basu Ray to give his address after his introduction by the host. Namaste.
Thank you for the wonderful welcome speech, Krishnanji. The Ministry of Ayush was formed with a view to provide attention for the development of education and research in Ayurveda, Yoga and Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha, and Homeopathy. We are happy that the Secretary, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, Vaidya Rajesh Kotecha ji has shared with us his message for the occasion.
Namaskaram. Myself Rajesh Kotecha, Secretary Government of India, Ministry of Ayush. I congratulate and compliment Science India Forum UAE for conducting the webinar series of Science in Yoga on the occasion of International Day of Yoga 2020. My compliments because we all talk about yoga, but very few people talk about science of yoga. There are so many researches going on different aspects of yoga. When we talk about yoga, we are not merely talking about asana, but we are talking about all aspects of yoga, including Ashtanga yoga or the effect of yoga on body, mind and spirit. So when we look at the scientific perspective of yoga, there is a lot of scope, and this scope opens up the possibilities of establishing a lot of evidences, and that is what in this forum is being discussed. So I compliment again. I am aware that Sri H.R. Nagendra ji, he did deliver his first talk in the previous session of this series, and I again want to compliment and congratulate the organizers, Science India Forum and in UAE and Vigyan Bharati in India. Pranams.
Thank you, Rajesh ji, for your august words. We understand that the ambassador from India to UAE, His Excellency Shri Pavan Kapoor, has kindly obliged to share with us his message for this occasion.
Namaskar and greetings on the 6th International Day of Yoga. It seems just like the other day when India moved a resolution at the United Nations for designating June 21 as the International Day of Yoga. And we got tremendous support for it. 177 countries co-sponsored the resolution. But actually that was in 2014. And ever since that day, we in the embassies of India all over the world have marked the International Day of Yoga with great gusto and enthusiasm, with the support of the Indian community and many, many enthusiasts of yoga all over the world. The UAE is no exception to this. We have for all these years been marking the International Day of Yoga in a big way all over the UAE, in parks and other important iconic venues. We have received tremendous support and cooperation from the UAE authorities who have helped us mark this occasion in a fitting manner. In addition, we have had eminent personalities, the likes of His Excellency Sheikh Nayan bin Mubarak Al Nayan, the Minister of Tolerance, who have not only participated in person at such events, but also helped us support it in a big way. This year, unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we will not be able to mark the International Day of Yoga in the same way that we have been marking it in the UAE. This year, there are personal restrictions on movement. There are requirements of social distancing. So we have decided that this year the theme of the International Day of Yoga will be Yoga from Home. The idea behind this is that we will still be able to benefit from the practices of yoga, but do it while making sure that we are in the safety of our home. It can prove to be quite helpful in dealing with stress and boosting the immunity in our body, both which are helpful in these times. In fact, pranayam or yoga breathing exercises can be particularly helpful in these circumstances. The common yoga protocol developed by the Ministry of Ayush of the Government of India is a simple and well-balanced mix of yoga asanas and breathing exercises which can be practiced from the safety of our homes. A healthy community with improved immunity can also help in better and more effectively dealing with this pandemic of the coronavirus. Let us make wellness a part of our life by embracing yoga. I wish all of you a very healthy and safe International Day of Yoga.
Thank you for your impressive words, His Excellency Shri Pavan Kapoor ji. Vignan Bharati is the largest science organization in India with more than 10,000 members from the scientific and the academic community and the policymakers of Government of India. I would now like to invite Sri Jayant Sahasrabuddheji, National Organizing Secretary, Vignan Bharati, to say a few words on this occasion.
Who is present for this session. I also welcome Dr. Indranill Basu Ray, who is our industry speaker for this session. We'll be, I'm sure that we'll be getting a great knowledge from him throughout this section. It is very heartening to know that Science India Forum has taken up this cause to spread science about yoga. Because nowadays, modern science, people have started accepting yoga as a science of spirituality. And spirituality is accepted in the domain of science as one of the dimensions of health. So everyone all over the world, they are seeking some kind of scientific knowledge about yoga, and they are having high expectations from India regarding this. So I think it's a great moment of time that people in India are awakened, they are more and more aware about what the world is thinking about yoga and how they are looking at yoga, the science of spirituality. I think these sessions conducted by Science Forum will take us further in this direction, and that will lead us to enjoy great fulfillment of our life. I again welcome everyone to this session, and I extend greetings for the International Yoga Day to all of you. Have a great session. Thank you.
Thank you, Shri Jayant Sahasrabuddheji, for your wonderful and informative speech. Let me now introduce you to the speaker of the day, Dr. Indranill Basu Ray. Dr. Indranill Basu Ray is a cardiologist and an interventional cardiac electrophysiologist at the Memphis Veterans Medical Center in Memphis, Tennessee, USA. Concurrently, he is an adjunct professor at the University of Memphis, Memphis, Tennessee, and also at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences at Rishikesh, Uttarakhand, India. He has trained in medicine and cardiology in India, and after that completed his American training in medicine and cardiology at the University of Buffalo and Tulane University. He trained in clinical cardiac electrophysiology at the Texas Heart Institute, Baylor College of Medicine, and in EP research at the Massachusetts General Hospital, Harvard Medical School. He has worked as an academic physician, researcher, and a scientist at various reputed medical institutions in the United States and India. Dr. Basu Ray has been meditating since the age of 6. His research centers on the use of meditation and yoga in cardiovascular diseases. He is also one of the cardiologists who wrote the American Heart Association's scientific statement on the use of meditation in the treatment of cardiovascular diseases. He also addressed the prestigious Indian Science Congress on the latest research on yoga and cardiovascular diseases in early 2020. Dr. Basu Ray is the author of numerous peer-reviewed research articles and book chapters in cardiology. Dr. Basu Ray, can we have everybody mute, please? Yeah. Dr. Basu Ray is the editor-in-chief of a world's first multi-authored book called The Principle and Practice of Yoga in Cardiovascular Medicine. Before I hand over this forum to Dr. Indranill Basu Ray, please note that there will be a question and answer session after the live talk. Audience is requested to post the question in the chat box which will be then collated by our team members and presented to Dr. Basu Ray. Now, without taking any more of your time, I welcome Dr. Indranill Basu Ray to present his thoughts on the science of ageless body and timeless mind. Welcome, Dr. Indranill Basu Ray.
Namaskar, everybody. It is a pleasure to be here. I am extremely grateful to Jayantji, Satish Krishnanji, and the whole team in this Gulf countries for doing this excellent job of spreading the science behind yoga. It's important to understand that this is a 10,000 years philosophy that India has given to the world. And the importance of it is, as we finish today, I'll slowly be able to explain to you. In the last 10 years, almost 4 Nobel Prize has gone indirectly or directly to support the notion that was written by Maharishi Patanjali almost 6,000, maybe even 10,000 years back. So the power of yoga is extreme, unbelievable. But the good news is what once upon a time looked like fantasy is actually, we know, is scientific today. Before I start, I'm giving you 2 scenarios. I want you to raise your hand. How many want to be in scenario A and how many want to be in scenario B? Scenario A is somebody who is 90 years old, but has a brain, body as fit as a 60 years old. And scenario B is a 90-year-old person who has forgotten where his house is, who has severe heart disease, is bedridden, but still living for 90 years. How many of you want solution A and solution B? I don't think we need any raising of hands. The world over knows that solution A is the answer for everybody. And yes, that's not a fantasy, that is the truth. So for the first time in 2000 years of development of modern medicine has come out with the concept of what is known as chronological aging and biological aging. So what is chronological aging? So if you are born 90 years before today, then your age today is 90 years. But practice of yoga for 12 to 15 years can reduce your age by a decade or more, 10 to 15 years or even 20 years lesser. So your biological age actually, though you're chronologically 90 years old because you are born 90 years before, but chronologically you may be only 65 because you have managed to have a physical body as young as a 65 years old. So is that a possibility or am I telling you a story? No, I'm not telling you a story. I'm telling you the actual possibility. That is the power of yoga. It is indeed sad that we, from India especially, we feel that we need to do yoga because yoga is something that our parents did, our father did. It's something that is prevalent in India. No, that's not true. Yoga is the most powerful science in the world. And that has been proved not by people like me who are from India, who are actually Hindus or who has lived or grown up in India. This has been proved by hundreds of scientists in the West, A, who are not Hindus, B, who have never come to India, C, who do not know the Indian way of life. But they are just physician scientists. They wanted to find out if this 10,000 years philosophy is scientific or it is just a bunch of ritual. So see the power of our philosophy that even something that was 10,000 years old is completely deep in science. The unfortunate part is we as Indians have never practiced it as this, has never thought it in that light. It is now time not only to think it in that light, but also to spread it to other people and understand what yoga is. Now, let me take you to another scenario. You have two cars. You have the latest Mercedes or a Tesla. The Tesla, as you know, is one of the world's first electronic car. It can drive by itself. And you have got a broken Toyota. So when you drive, if you don't read the manual of Tesla, you can drive the Tesla like a broken Toyota because you need to go from place A to place B. Correct? Am I right? Can all of you hear me clearly? Okay, good. So if you don't want to read the manual, you'll be riding the Tesla just like a broken Toyota. But if you read the manual, you sit in the Tesla and it can drive by itself and you're just going to sit, keep your hand on the handle. So it depends on you how you drive it, whether you read the manual or not. Now imagine cars was invented only 100 years old. Ford invented car or motor car that we see in the street today less than 100 years ago. And within 100 years now, we have a car that is self-driven. Even in traffic, if I'm sitting down, putting my handle on the car will drive by its own. There's red light, it'll stop on the red light. There's green light, it'll restart again. There's suddenly my car is going at 60 kilometers per hour. Suddenly a car comes in the front. It'll automatically slow down to 10, 15, 20, or even stop. And then again, the car starts, it starts again. And on the other hand, you have the Toyota where you have to keep your eyes, ears, brain, legs, everything. Make sure that you don't crash into somebody else and kill yourself. So imagine if this is the development we achieved in just less than 100 years, the machine that you have, the body that you have lived on this earth for over 2 million years. How sophisticated that can be. Now, if you have not read the manual of knowing how sophisticated you are, then obviously you're going to behave just like a broken Toyota because you think that your body cannot do anything. You're a poor person. You're liable to get infection. You're liable to die at 40 years of age. Every time a pandemic strikes like COVID, you will get COVID. So the question is, you have to read the manual. So the manual was put down by Maharishi Patanjali almost 10,000 years back. If you read Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it is available in every language in this world, including in Hindi, English, Malayali, Bengali. You don't have to read it in Sanskrit. You don't have to know Sanskrit. You will find out it is a book. It doesn't talk about religion at all. It doesn't talk about God at all. It just talks about spirituality and how you can use your own physical body to achieve what is known as the most powerful individual in the universe. Remember Swami Vivekananda, who, as all of us know, but just for the sake of people who are not Indians in this particular age, is one of the world's greatest philosopher. He said that if you want something, let every blood cell in your body know. You have 5 million RBCs, blood cells in your body. Let every blood cell of your body know. Then even if Narayan, who as you all know, and for the non-Indians or non-Hindus, Narayan is supposed to be the one of the three pantheon highest god of the Hindu philosophy. Even if he wants, he cannot stop you. So you are physically that powerful. But look at us, what we think, oh, I am a poor person. Oh, God has made me so weak. Oh, I cannot do this. Oh, I cannot do that. Because of the simple reason that you have a Tesla, a latest Mercedes sitting in your garage, a Bugatti sitting in your garage, and you want to treat it like a broken ambassador or a broken Toyota. So the fault is not mine, fault is not everybody else, fault is not of the god or goddesses or religion. The fault is you and mine, how we use our body. So let me explain why our body is like this and how yoga helps so that we understand the science. So we lived for 2 million years on this earth, okay? So when we got up in the morning, You might get up and go to the kitchen and make some tea or coffee for yourself. You might get up and give a kiss to your son or to your daughter who's a young kid, or say hello to your wife, or give a kiss to your mom or your dad and hug them and say, give me your blessing, or go to the prayer room and do some prayer, whatever you might do. But this is because we as humans have 2000 years of civilized life. You're living in a home, you have nice people surrounding you, and this has not been existent for the last 2 million years. In the last 2 million years, we lived in jungles, we lived in the cave. So when you got up in the morning, you can come out of your cave and find a slithering python trying to get into your cave, or you might find a saber-toothed tiger smiling at you, or you might find elephant or a standing, mammoth standing in front of your cave. So when you get up in the morning, you had two options. One option is either kill or you run. There's no other option. So fight or flight. Fight means you have to fight that animal, or you run. Thankfully, our predecessors, your and my predecessors, did the right thing so that we are now the dominant species on Earth. Had our predecessors not done the right thing, then we would have been gone just like the dinosaurs or hundreds of thousands of other animals. So this journey made us successful because whatever our predecessors did was right. Now, so the body or the brain is made for fight or flight because that is what we did for 4 million years to exist as successful species on Earth. So if you're walking on a garden and you see a rope far, you know it is a rope, but still you want to go and make sure it's not a snake. Why? Because your brain always thinks negatively first. Why does it think negatively? Because the brain negative thinking has given you the chance to live out of hundreds and thousands of animals for this 2 million years and become the most dominant species on Earth. So negative thinking of the brain has given you survival advantage. And that survival advantage has come because your brain always wants to make sure that you're not in danger. Even in today's life, that is true. I'll give you an example. If you have a nice party at your home, you forget it in a couple of days. You go out in the street, you have a fight, somebody gives you a slap, or your neighbor gives you a slap, you'll remember it the rest of your life. You go to your office, your boss treats you badly, tells you bad things, that you are inefficient, you remember it all your life. Tell me why. You enjoyed a million times more when you had the party at your house for whatever reason. It could be for your promotion, it could be because your son's birthday, it could be because your father and mother had 50 years of married life, it could be anything. It could be because you had 50 years of married life, whatever. You don't remember that very long. But the fact that somebody slapped you, you'll remember all your life. Fact that your boss said that you're an incompetent person, or you had to change your job, or you lost your job and had to take a new job, and all the trouble you had to undergo, even if that happened 20 years before, you remember it. That is because our brain is tuned to keep memory. So the brain remembers by making protein inside the brain. So we have this area of the brain, which is called temporal lobe, area 41, 42. You make proteins that stores as memory, just like a computer. You take a brand new computer, you put a Microsoft Word, it will not, you can't see anything. The Word document won't open up. The computer will ask you, what should I use to open up this software? So you will have to go down and download Microsoft Word and then choose Microsoft Word, it will open up. And same with the memory. You are seeing me and I am seeing you. My eyes are not seeing you. My eyes are taking the information to the back of my brain called the area 1819 in my posterior part of the back part of my brain. called the optical center. The eyes don't see. Eyes are just a cup which picks up light and takes it to the brain. My brain is seeing a bunch of people sitting inside me somewhere far away. So eyes also is not understanding why you guys are sitting out here. So my eye sends it to the temporal lobe. Temporal lobe says, oh, I am in a talk and I'm talking to a large number of people who are sitting in 7, 8, 9 countries in in the Gulf region. So the software is in my temporal lobe, which is telling me what exactly is going on, what I am doing, what I should do next. So that temporal lobe has protein which tells me I have to be careful. I had a snake bite, so that rope in the garden is a rope and not a snake. I have to make that out. Now, the unfortunate part is that this behavior of the brain is still there despite we living in the society for 2000 years. So, for example, suppose you're a person who's your friend is promoted and you're not promoted. So you are angry within yourself about him. Suppose Dr. Satish Krishnan has a very good practice, which I don't have. I am a doctor, he is a doctor, so I am jealous of him. Now, if I was a dinosaur and if I did not like him and he was a dinosaur, I would have gone and eaten him up. But I cannot eat him up. But I am still jealous of him. So what is happening is I am creating chemicals within my own body because of this jealousy, and that chemicals that I'm creating within my own body is not affecting Dr. Krishnan even 1%. It is affecting me. These are chemicals which is making my heart go fast. And today in the Western nation, every 2 minutes, somebody dies because of what is known as sudden cardiac death, where their heart goes, normally your heart will go at 60, 70 beats per minute. You run up the stairs, it will go at 100 beats per minute. You run an Olympic, it will go as 110 beats per minute. You go and play cricket with your son or daughter or football with them, it will go at 110 beats per minute. But it will never go at 200 or 250 beats per minute. But there are millions of people who die in seconds because their heart goes 250 beats per minute. That is because this thing that I was talking about, in modern society, everything has become like a competition. Dr. Krishnan has got a better practice like me. Janji is doing better than me. X and YZ has got a Mercedes and I don't have. This guy has got a bigger building than I don't have. This guy is in Dubai and I am sitting somewhere else. Everything in human being, every reaction in human being is unfortunately channeled towards stress. And now we have come to understand this, which our rishis have understood 10,000 years back, but we as scientists have not understood that. So whatever your reaction is, it is translated inside the body into 3 different things, just 3 different things. One is, number one, everything's become stress. Now, some stress is good. You're the person who's going to decide how the next Mars mission India is going to take. So a little stress is good because you're doing a great job. Or you're the person who's going to decide how India is going to create the next ballistic missile. Stress is good because that stress will increase your production. That is called normal stress. That is good for every human being. That is good for even children, because when children give their exam, they need to produce 100%. This stress will help them to produce their 100%. Then comes distress. Distress means you have a problem. Today, that problem should go away, but when the problem goes away, your stress still continues. That is called distress. It might continue for a day, it might continue for a week, it may continue for a month, it may continue for years. And that leads to different diseases, and we'll talk about it, like high blood pressure, diabetes mellitus. Your brain gets damaged. And that's why by the time you're 80 years old, you forget your son's name, you forget where you had a house, you forget where you lived, you have complete memory loss. And in Western countries, as much as 30-35% people above 80 years old, that's why they languish in nursing homes, because they don't know who they are, they don't know where they live, They don't know if they have a house. They don't know if they had a wife. They don't know who their son or daughter is. They are completely lost. Some of them don't even know their own names. So it is important to understand that why this is happening. This is all because of stress. Because it's like this. You have a bank and you have put money. So till the end of your life, whatever money you put, you are going to take that money. If your money is finished, then you can kick the ATM, you can break the bank, but money will not come to you until if you finish all your saving. So remember this, you are saving all the neurons in your brain, which is more than 1 billion neurons, till you're 25 years of age. So all of you that I'm seeing here, at least in front of me, are more than 25, 30, I think. There may be young people otherwise. So all of them are now eating from your savings. And every day, when you have absolutely no stress, you're living heavenly life, you're still losing 300 to 400 neurons, so that by the time you're 80, you have lost a large number of neurons. And believe me, if we do CT scan of your brain from when you're 10 for every decade, 20, 30, 40, till you're 80, 90, by the time you're 70, 80, the size of your brain, which is a nice, beautiful brain when you're 10, 15, 20, 30, becomes small like a monkey's brain. Why? Because you're losing. Now, this is normal. This is a person who has absolutely no stress. Now, when you start having stress, this number is increased to a large extent. And that's why by the time you're 60, you start having a monkey's brain. So what do you expect? You are going to forget where your keys are. When you park your car in a parking where there are tons of cars, you'll forget where your car is. You'll forget where you kept your keys. And this will progress till you come to a stage when it is more dangerous, when you forget who you are. So this destruction that is happening of your body is systematic because of stress. So this is called distress, where stress goes off slowly, but takes months or weeks or years to go off. Then comes the toxic stress, and that is what kills. Toxic stress is stress that is always there. And that stress is the most dangerous part of the stress, because that starts eroding the body. So there are people who are 60 years of age, instead of looking 40, they look like they are 80 years of age because their body has been devastated by stress. So it is important to understand this philosophy that Patanjali pointed out 10,000 years back, and we have given it a scientific name. We have just changed nothing. We have just given it a bunch of scientific names. So this stress, the toxic stress, is actually responsible for damaging your body. As time passes, you're damaging your brain, you're damaging your heart, so that your heart progressively, you have your blood vessel getting blocked, getting heart attacks. You have a heart attack today, you have bypass surgery, you have stenting put in. Remember, they don't cure the disease. Stents just gives you a newer life and brings down your symptom. Bypass gives you a newer life, brings down your symptom. You'll have another bypass in 10, 15 years if you continue your stress. You'll have another stenting. And this first time you have bypass, your chance of dying is almost very little, because science has developed a lot. But the second time you have bypass, your chance of dying increases. The third time you have bypass, your chance of dying increases almost 2 to 3 times. Because, so if you do not control the stress, if you do not control your body, there is no way you can get out of the disease. And that is true not only for dementia, not only for strokes, not only for heart disease, even for cancer. In most of the developed countries, including in most of the Gulf countries where the quality of life is good, most people die because of heart disease and cancer. Even in India, that's going to happen. India is slowly moving to become a developed country. Most of the death is coming from heart disease and cancers. It's going to get worse day by day until we go back to our ancient system of protecting ourselves using yoga. Though it is still a controversy, but almost 50 to 60% of oncologists, that is the cancer specialists and molecular scientists, believe stress plays a big role even in starting cancer. Though there is some controversy, some people believe it may not be. But there are certain cancers which do come from stress. But there is no controversy in one thing. If you have cancer and you have stress, your chance of dying is much, much higher, and your chance of cancer spread is much, much higher than a person with similar cancer, even stage 4 cancer, who does not have stress. So stress actually is like something that takes part and damages and devastates you in every square of life. Take the present epidemic, COVID. In COVID, what is happening? In COVID, you are locked down. So you develop anxiety, depression. Some people develop panic disorder. What happens if I die out of COVID? What will happen to my son? He's still a kid. What will happen to my daughter? She just started her college. So what is happening to my family? So they get panic disorder. So what happens when you have anxiety, depression, and panic disorder? Your chance of COVID increases. Had you not had any one of the three, your chance of COVID is way lesser than when you have all these three. So when you have all these three and you practice yoga, you not only oppose the development of anxiety, depression, and stress, but you actually make yourself stronger to treat COVID. I don't want to go into the deeper science, but basically all the body's immunological reaction that prevents you from getting COVID is increased to multiple extent. So you are actually making your body much more fitter, and chance of COVID is way lesser. But COVID is a powerful virus. Suppose you still get COVID, then what happens? Will yoga protect you? Now, for understanding that, first let's understand what happens when somebody dies of COVID. It is important to understand that nobody till death has died of COVID, the virus itself. Yes, I repeat, if this is a shock to you, let me repeat that again. Till today, nobody died because of the virus. All the hundreds and thousands of deaths that you have seen is because of the body itself, body's reaction to the virus. So what happens is, this is a very infective virus. It gets into the body, it suppresses your immune system, and the body is fooled till it completely enslaves the blood cells, the cells in your body, including the lung cells, some cells in the heart. And then when body realizes, body releases dangerous chemicals like interleukin 6, interleukin 8, interleukin 10. And these chemicals causes devastation. These chemicals are released in the body not to kill the body, but to kill the virus. So if you're in India, you have mosquito bites. I don't know if there are mosquitoes in UAE. Unfortunately, in America, there's not much of mosquitoes. So you have a mosquito bite and you get India's most powerful tank, the Arjun M90 battle tank, to kill the mosquito. So who will die first, you or the mosquito? Same thing happens in COVID. The body brings in tanks to kill the virus. So unfortunately, though the virus gets killed, but you get killed too. Now, we are just starting to try out drugs like tocilizumab, which prevents the release of interleukin 6. We are just trying those drugs. It's a bunch of new drugs, and we just started trials. And some of the drugs have shown success in America. And most of those drugs are still not available, I know, at least in UAE and other countries. But it just got available in Germany and very few countries now, still not available in India. But remember, you need these drugs in India because you are treating yourself like the broken Toyota. 10 to 15 years back, there have been a bunch of trials. And again, these trials are not by Indians. These are by Americans who don't understand yoga, who are not Hindus, who don't understand the philosophy. Just by research, they have shown that 8 to 9 weeks of yoga practice helps to modulate your immunity so that you will decrease the release of interleukin 6. So, my friend, if you treat your body, which God or nature, or doesn't matter whatever religion you are, whatever you are, which has given you, whether you believe in God or not, it doesn't matter, has given you, if you treat your body to be a poor body, you are useless and like a broken car, the fault is yours. There are not one, there are multiple experiments with randomized clinical trials. So let me explain what randomized clinical trial is. Randomized clinical trial is where people are taken in a trial, where the trial people are themselves, like suppose I do a trial. If I do a trial on yoga, that would not be good. Why would that not be good? It will not be good, not because I'm not trained, not because I don't know about yoga, not because I'm not trained in Western medicine. It is because that I believe in yoga. So in medicine, you cannot have what is called bias. So just like people like me or Dr. Satish Krishnan cannot be a good trial investigator. To be a good trial investigator, you should be somebody who does not know yoga, who does not understand or accept the benefit of yoga, who takes it with a grain of salt. So these are Americans or Germans or who are like that. And when they did research on people with yoga and they showed benefit, then you know that you have to be proud that yoga is 100% scientific. When 2009 Nobel Prize winner showed for the first time that when you meditate, the age of your cell decreases. There's something called telomeres. As you age, your telomere becomes shorter and shorter. But if you practice meditation, your telomere remains longer. She got the Nobel Prize for that. And that telomere is, for the first time in the world, as I said, I'm a professor at cardiology at AIMS Rishikesh. At Rishikesh, the Dev Bhumi, or the Valley of the Gods, I've seen many people. You won't even believe it when they tell you I'm 90 years old, because they don't even look, they are 50 years old. They have video-like memory. They can tell you what happened 25 years back, just like a video memory. So I used to think, being a Hindu, believing in yoga, I used to think this is a miracle. It is a miracle, but it is a miracle which is based in science now. So in 2010, Sarah Laser from Harvard, she was my colleague. There was a time when I used to work at Mass General Hospital. I actually trained at Mass General Hospital at Harvard Medical School in research. She showed for the first time that if you meditate for 5 years, your brain can grow by 1 inch. Today, as I said, after 25 years old, you are only using all the neurons you have. So by the age of 80, 90, you might be forgetting what your son's name is or your daughter's name is, where you lived. I'm not trying to scare you. That is the truth. Today, 30 to 35% of Americans at that age live in nursing home because they have severe dementia. There is no medicine. There are 3 medicines to treat dementia. All of them are as good as useless. But you have yoga, which actually not only prevents you from dementia, decreases your cell death, but actually makes you grow your brain. Till 20 years back, or almost 15 years back, we didn't even know that brain grew. We thought, modern science believed that brain had no way to grow. Once you're 25, 30, you're done. After that, it only dies. There's no growth. Now we know your brain actually grow, and yoga and meditation can make your brain grow. Let me bring that point here also, and that is very important to understand. Rajesh Kotecha brought about that. I don't know about UAE, and that's been our fight, the rest of the country, in the rest of the world. And unfortunately, some of the Indians also believe that. Yoga is not just doing postures or asanas. Patanjali did not want you to be expert acrobats. He did not want you to be in some circus where you can show how much you can bend your legs or bend your neck or stand on your head. That is not what yoga is. It doesn't matter how good you're doing your postures. Yeah, you have to do appropriate postures, no worries. There's no doubt about this. But yoga is not meant to make you an acrobat. You're not taking being a joker in a circus as your future career. So the reason, so yoga is only 2 to 3%, maybe 5% asanas or postures. It is 95% meditation. And that is why the philosophy is very important to understand. Devoid of philosophy, I personally think there may be controversies. It is just little better than going to your gym and doing some exercise. It's little better, but not grossly better. But when you combine the entire philosophy, when you understand the philosophy, when you understand the meditation part of it, that is when you practice 100% of yoga. If you are spending 20 minutes like going to a gym, you say, okay, 5 o'clock, I do yoga. So you cannot do yoga at 5 o'clock because 5 o'clock you can go to the gym. Yoga is a change in lifestyle. Yoga is a philosophy. So you don't do yoga. Again, I repeat, you don't do yoga, you're in yoga. 24/7, 365, you're in yoga. You eat yoga, you sleep yoga, you live yoga, but you don't do yoga because there's nothing else but yoga. That is what the philosophy is. Now let's understand the damage that stress does, because now we know, and that's what I say, in the next 10, 15 years, already 2 to 3 Nobel Prize has indirectly proved a lot of concepts we have in yoga. Like, for example, we do fasting. You know, a Japanese got Nobel Prize in 2016 for intermittent fasting. So fasting has been a ritual for hundreds of years. I have a lot of people, when I give talks to so-called intelligent people in India, in IITs, and they tell me, oh, it's a ritual that you do fasting. Oh, it's a ritual. Yes, it is a ritual because we are fools. We Indians have replaced the science that we discovered thousands of years back into rituals. Werner Heisenberg, one of the fathers of quantum physics, says, what we are inventing today are discoveries, for they have been invented by Hindu rishis millenniums ago. They have been discovered by Hindu rishis millenniums ago. Werner Heisenberg says that. So we are the fools who relegate our philosophy into rituals because we are illiterate and we don't want to understand the science. We keep ourselves blind. We are like horses going in a carriage where we are not allowed to see the sides. We only see the front, and we think everything coming from Indian philosophy is just a bunch of rituals. If you stay hungry for 12 hours, you will decrease your chance of having diabetes, hypertension, and a bunch of other cardiac disease. If you stay for more than 14 hours, this is part of a Nobel Prize thesis. This is not what Indranill Basu Ray is saying. This has got the Nobel Prize in 2016. You can actually generate protein and kill infective viruses and bacteria in your body. So there is nothing ritual. What is still ritual today is ritual because of two things. One is we have relegated science into ritual because we are ignorant. And second is science has not also developed to that extent to explain everything. And science will develop. And that is where we have a powerful role to play, that what are we doing to push the science? We should popularize it and make people understand that everything that we say is science. So let's go back to stress and understand that. So Buddha, as you know, created no religion. Buddha wanted to change Hinduism by taking away all the rituals and bringing back science. Buddhism was actually started almost 400 years after Buddha died for political reasons. But that apart, I don't want to go into that. But long story short, the ritual part of Hinduism is a delayed phenomena that we have to get rid of that. And thankfully, science has done that to a large extent. So let's understand what stress is doing. Stress activates a lot of your genes. And that genes, what it does is that those genes are called CTRA. C for Calcutta, T for Trivandrum, R for Roger, A for America. CTRA genes. There's over 300 genes in the body. And these genes cause widespread destruction. They damage your heart. They block your blood vessels, so you get heart attacks, strokes. They cause abnormal cell, which leads you to have cancer. And once you have cancer, they'll increase the metastasis of your cancer so that you die early. So they perpetuate a large number of destruction. So you will think, why did the body make like this? The reason body made like this is when you're facing a saber-toothed tiger, the body wanted to shut everything down so that you could run. Or you could get all the strength, all the blood flow. It did not want to have a lot of blood flow to your brain. It did not want to have a lot of blood flow to your muscles, to your heart. It did not want to have a lot of blood flow to your kidney, which you need to stay healthy. Body just needed a lot of blood flow only to your hand and leg muscle so that you could fight the python, so that you could fight the saber-toothed tiger, so that you could fight that mammoth. But now you're living in a civilized society. You're not fighting pythons anymore. And that's why it has been found that people who are always stressed out, they have the base of the brain. So our brain is 80 to 90% of the brain is, a large part of the brain is what we have same with the dinosaur or with the reptile, like a crocodile, same brain. The base of the brain is same. On top of that, we have a brain that we developed and orangutans and some of the chimpanzees have it, a special brain on top because we are a civilized society. Obviously, that amount of brain in us is much, much bigger than that of an orangutan or a chimpanzee. That is because we developed that because we live in a socialized society. But the core of the brain is same. So if I do what is known as a PET scan, where I can see a brain of you, suppose you means not you as X, Y, and Z, but a general person who has never done yoga, I will find you have a large reptilian brain. Why? Because reptilian brain is the brain that we all had for 4 million years, which is kept us alive. Now, so your amygdala, your hypothalamus will be large. So what does that mean? That means every small thing will cause stress. You'll be stressed out because somebody has a better car. You'll be stressed out in your job. You'll be stressed out in your family. You'll be stressed out for every little small thing in the universe. But as you pass your time and you start practicing meditation, in 4 weeks, if I do a PET scan again, when you practice meditation and yoga, you will slowly find with passive yoga, the part of the brain that is coming from reptile becomes smaller and smaller. And when you are practicing maybe for 10, 15 years, they have done PET scan and functional MRIs in hundreds of brains of Hindu rishis, Buddhist monks. They could not even find amygdala. They could not even find hypothalamus because the reptilian brain is gone. So if you want to live like a human being, as Vivekananda said, or if you want to live like a god, choice is yours. You can still drive the broken Toyota despite having a $100,000 Tesla, or you can live like a simple human being going through all that stress and tribulation of life. Because if you are born on earth, you will have a problem because that's the material world. That's what everybody said. Vivekananda could not feed his mother for many days after his father died because he was so poor. Shankaracharya had his mother die. His mother was the only person in the world he had. Jesus Christ was hanged from a cross and they put nails all over his body. So that is why Buddha said 2000 years back. What did he say? It is very important to understand this and assimilate this. Only then you'll understand the power of yoga, how powerful Hindu philosophy is in this journey that we have in this earth. Buddha says pain is mandatory. Again, I repeat, pain is mandatory, but suffering is optional. If you live on earth, you will have to have pain. Even if you are God, ultimately all of us will reach Godhead. Because in core Hindu philosophy or the core philosophy, you start the same place, you end in the same place. So everybody will reach Godhead. Maybe in 1 birth, 10 births, 50,000 births, it doesn't matter. But this journey, you will have pain. But if that pain is going to bother you, if you're going to suffer, it depends on you. So pain is mandatory, but suffering is optional. Now, what are the suffering? As I said, why did I say ageless and timeless? Because your body depends on the destructive process that you want your body to have. So if destruction is going every day, by the age you're 50 and 60, your destruction increases multifolds. So you build your brain by your 25, 30. You build most of your muscle by the time you're 30, rarely by the time you're 50, if you practice some good exercises. But after 50, you'll still be breaking your muscles. And if you think if I eat a lot of protein, I'll have a lot of muscles, no. After 50, 60, if you take a lot of protein, you'll develop, you'll damage your kidneys because kidney has to break those proteins. You'll have osteoarthritis and a bunch of other things. So the question is, if you think I'll eat goat meat and lamb and all this, yes, all those protein will actually help to kill you faster because all those fats will block your blood vessel. You have increased chance of having heart attacks and strokes. Plus that protein is no more of use at that age. So what we need to understand is these has to be thrown out from the root, not using medicine. I am using statins to bring down blood cholesterol. Yes, those are important. Modern medicine is important. But modern medicine can prevent you disease only to some extent. How? Because remember, every drug is a poison. So you are taking statin because a statin like Lipitor or whatever, if you have a heart attack, they'll give you. If you have high cholesterol, they'll give you because your risk of taking the medicine is less than your risk of dying without the medicine. So when your benefit, see, every medicine, I as a doctor, as a cardiologist, I say, every medicine is toxic. But then why do you take medicine? From a toxic, it becomes a medicine when the benefit is more than the risk. So somebody with high cholesterol, somebody with bypass surgery, somebody with stenting, if you don't take statins, you'll die because you'll have another heart attack. So you just manage to make a drug beneficial to you because you have a disease. So the drug helps. But what about changing the whole scenario? You're sitting in a chair that has got nails. So will you remove the nail or will you put in multiple pillows in it so that it doesn't hurt your back? Which you think is more logical? So obviously you don't have to be an Einstein to understand that it is easier to remove the nail than putting in 5 pillows and sitting in that same chair. So now you're sitting in a chair with multiple pins. One is hypertension, one is diabetes, one is cancer. All are caused by lifestyle. 70% of death in this world is caused by lifestyle. By the time I finish my talk, 45,000 people would have died just in America. Forget all the other countries. I do not even have the statistics of how many in India, how many in UAE and other countries. So we are putting in pillows to sit in the same chair instead of pulling out those nails which are hurting our back. Pillows are important. There may be some pin which is difficult to root out, but it might take years of practice. But that is what you need to do. Completely change the milieu. So how does it change the milieu? It changes the milieu in multiple ways. When you practice meditation, all these 300 hormones, as I told you, they slowly change. So when they slowly change, your body does not get activated all the stress genes does not get activated when you're stressed out. As I said, stressing out is normal. Unless, even if you're God born on earth, even if you're Ramakrishna, even if you're Swami Vivekananda, even if you're Maharishi Arvind, even if you're Adi Shankara, you'll still have stress, because the earth is a material plane where normal life means stress. The question is, can you cover yourself with a bubble so that the stress does not affect you? And that is exactly what yoga does scientifically. So when you decrease the CTRA genes, what happens is noradrenaline, adrenaline, all the dangerous chemicals that makes your heart go fast and you develop heart failure, they are decreased. You develop a fast heart rhythm called atrial fibrillation, that is decreased. Your blood vessels stop producing, get filled up with trash. When you eat a lot of fat, you don't do asanas, you don't practice meditation, and your stress level is high, you develop fat inside your blood vessel that leads to stroke, that leads to heart attack. And this process continues even after you get a bypass or a stent. Because as I said, bypass or stent is like putting pillows in a chair that has got nails. You have to root out those nails by practicing meditation and practicing yoga, doing regular asanas and practicing meditation to bring down stress. So you need to practice at least 5 to 7 days a week, 15 to 20 minutes of physical asanas, and then at least 20 minutes to half an hour of meditation, so that you can appropriately get removed all these things. So that's about the heart. What about cancer? So in cancer, what we know is every time we have thousands and thousands of genes. Every day, these genes create newer genes, newer cells are created. So it's like a typist. You take a typist and you ask, he's the world's best typist. You make him type 40,000 documents every day. So he may be the world's best typist. He'll still make 1 or 2 mistakes. So you have a typist in all of your blood, in all of your cells. What they are doing is they are typing DNA. They are typing multiple things. So there is a very big chance that you will have 1 or 2 of those, what we call mutations. And when this mutation accumulate, you develop cancer. So every one of you will develop cancer. Yes, I'm not telling you, I'm not trying to make you depressed. That's the truth. But the problem is you'll develop cancer maybe 150 when you're 150, 160 years old. People die before that. But ultimately, everybody will develop cancer, because this process is a continuous process. But how can we prevent it? If you make your bodies more efficient to catch hold of this mutation and treat it. But as you get older and older, your chance of getting this mutation and treating them becomes weaker and weaker. But if you're a 90-year-old guy whose physical body is as fit as a 60-year-old person, obviously you'll be much more efficient to get rid of these mutations. And that's why you will have people 90 years old moving around in the Himalayas who they haven't even heard what is cancer. They never had a bypass surgery. They never went to a doctor. They never had hypertension. They never had diabetes mellitus. Because they have rooted out the cause, that is stress. So when you root out the cause, you get an ageless body. You get a timeless mind when your body is not followed by time. What do I mean by that? As I told you, all the money, all the brain cells that you put inside your body is when you're 25 years old. Done. So your ATM for your brain is full. You have to use that the rest of your life. If you live for 90 years, that's what you will get. If you live for 40 years, that's what you will get. If you live for 100 years, that's what you will get. How much you stored and how much you have no control over that, because 25 is gone. You can cry, you can break your head, you can tear every hair in your head and go around completely hairless in your brain, but a single cell in your brain will not increase. But there is one thing you can do. That's why our philosophy says there's no use crying of the past. There's no use thinking about the future and stressing out. But yes, you control your present. Now is the present. Nobody on earth. That's why Vivekananda said, if every blood vessel of your body knows, even Narayan can't prevent you from getting it. So today, if you decide, I'm going to change myself, I know the science, I'm going to practice meditation. By the time you die, I can almost guarantee you, you can prevent the regular death of your brain cells so that you don't start having a monkey brain by the time you're 80 years old. So you forget who you are, you forget who's your son, you forget who's your daughter, you forget where you live. Because one thing that you can do is stop the destruction. So how you live, you have a Tesla, you want it to drive it automatically, or you want to drive it like a broken ambassador, it's exclusively on you. So the nature is extremely powerful. Nature has given us an extremely powerful body. Why? Because we are all meant to go to the ultimate. Ultimate is the most powerful human. So when we talk of something called Shiva, Shiva is not a guy with a bunch of snake, a crazy guy with a bunch of snake going around. In the yoga concept, Shiva, the name indicates an Adi Yogi. What does Adi Yogi means? It means a practitioner, which can be you, who has used the manual of yoga, the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, to create the most powerful body and mind in the universe. And that is what you can do. And that the great thing is that this has been shown by people. There are hundreds and thousands of people before you who have shown this. And the greatest thing of the yoga philosophy is it doesn't even talk about religion. It doesn't even talk about God. It says a very simple thing. Try it today and you will see if it works or not. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe Buddha. You don't have to believe Vivekananda. Try it and see. And we now know from scientific research that 4 weeks of meditation can actually decrease anxiety, depression, can block off the production of noradrenaline and other things. You can get COVID, but 90% chance if you've been a yoga practitioner for long, you'll possibly never get the cytokine release syndrome, which causes death in COVID. The virus doesn't kill you. If you practice COVID, you may still be diabetic because you got diabetic from your genes, from your father, from your mother. In India, diabetes is an epidemic. But you will be better controlling your diabetes when you practice meditation and decrease the stress, because what stress is doing is at every point making your diabetes worsen. Today you need 2 drugs, tomorrow you'll need 3 drugs, after 10 years you'll need insulin, and after that you'll be eating only drugs, no food. Because you'll have to take 10 drugs, 5 drugs for hypertension, 5 drugs for diabetes, 2 drugs for stroke, 1 drug for heart attack. So your lunch, dinner, and breakfast will all be medicines. I'm not saying medicine, I'm not speaking against modern medicine. Modern medicine has got a very important role. Modern medicine is saving lives. But that doesn't mean modern medicine is playing an important role in what we know as non-communicable disease. Let me give you an example. America is number 42nd in medicine as far as the health indices go. Sweden and Finland is number 1. Sweden and Finland spends 40 times less in healthcare than what America does. So why is America number 42nd and Sweden is 1? America spends 99 cents out of $1 for acute care. That's why America saves maximum amount of life, and America has the best acute care in the world. Whether you have an accident, whether you have active COVID, whether you have diabetes, whether you have hypertension, we have the best drugs. If you have a heart attack, we can fly you in 6 minutes, do a bypass surgery, do a stenting in less than 90 minutes. 90% of the world may not have those facilities, but still we are 42nd. Why? Because out of 1 rupee, we spend 99 paisa out of acute care. But Sweden and Finland spends 40 paisa in preventive medicine. So today, maximum death all over the world is because of non-communicable disease. including in America, that is diabetes, heart disease, heart attack, stroke, rheumatoid arthritis. They can be, modern medicine can be used to save life, but modern medicine cannot root out this disease. That's where yoga comes in. When you practice yoga, you root out the cause of this disease. So as I proved to you, countries like Sweden spending 40 times lesser than America, and that's what America is now trying to do. In Harvard Medical School, they are now trying to start yoga to teach medical students. How many medical school in UAE and even in India, how many medical school teach yoga to doctors? How many IIT graduates who thinks they are super intellectual know that yoga is science? It's a shame. That thing that has come from India, we need to get Nobel Prize by Australian American, by Germans to prove what we have for the last 10,000 years. So it doesn't matter who we are, whether we are Indians, people from the Gulf, American, Germans. This is for the betterment of humanity. India has given this to the world for betterment of humanity. We haven't gone like other people and said that this is our property, so only we will use it. We have given it to the whole world to use it for their benefit. So starting from aging, starting from decreasing aging, starting, as I said, molecular level, now we understand how aging is. Telomerase is decreased. There's a Nobel Prize on that. Starting from decreasing heart disease, heart health. You have heart attack today, there's 28% chance of having a heart attack despite having all the medicine. If you don't take medicine, the chance of having another heart attack is as high as 36%. This 28%, if you take all the medicine, can be lowered to a great extent. But it is not zero. If you want to make it zero, you have to add lifestyle changes or yoga to your regimen. You have to change your lifestyle. You have to decrease stress. You have to kill the creator. Medicine prevents, stress is the creator. Stress manifests as hypertension, diabetes. So if you treat diabetes, if you treat hypertension, you're negating the manifestation, but you're not negating the creator. You have to kill the Ravana at its source. You have to go to Lanka and kill the Ravana. Okay, you cannot send missiles from here hoping to stop them. If China attacks, we'll go inside China and I will kill them. Because that is what India is meant to do. We don't harm any country. We don't touch any country. India in its history has never attacked anybody, but we don't stop there. If anybody attacks us, we'll go inside and kill. That is what you need to do to your own body too. You have to go inside and kill the creator. There's no use killing the manifestation like hypertension, heart attack, diabetes, stroke, cancer by taking medicine. Medicine plays a big role. You have to go to the right doctor. You have to take to the right medicine, but you have to also eradicate the cause. Does that make sense? Now, I don't know how much time I have, Dr. Satish. Where am I? Should I be stopping or?
You just exceeded a little bit of your time. I think you can wrap it up or continue a little more.
Okay. So I think I will wrap up. So a couple of things I want to tell all of you. So yoga is now based on complete scientific research. There have been tons of research all over the world. Any of you are interested, please feel to share, get my emails from Dr. Krishnan, Jayanji, Abgaji, or anybody. They'll all provide you with my email. Feel free to, or my number, feel free to call me. But I think it's the job of every one of you, not only because you're Indian or a practitioner of yoga, whether you're American, whether you're German, whether you're from the Gulf countries, for the sake of humanity, the world should know the science of yoga. Everybody has the right to live a healthy life. Everybody has the life to prolong their life so that they are productive. It is no use living till 90 years when you're relegated to the bed, you are handicapped, you don't know who you are, you're sick, you are using your resources, your family resources. That kind of life is useless. You have the power through yoga to live a long life that is healthy, that is disease free, and that is extremely productive. So the only way to do it is try to change your lifestyle. And again, when I hear, oh, I do yoga from 5 to 6, you, unfortunately, my friends, you don't do yoga. Maybe you do some exercise, because like I'm talking to you, a part of my brain can still meditate. Yeah, it does not come in a day. It needs years of practice, but no magic comes in a day. Only medicines and drugs comes in a day. You can pop a pill and prevent yourself maybe to some extent, but you cannot cure anything in a day. There is no magic in this world. It's all hard work. If this was Buddha, he had to go through the same path. If it was Vivekananda, they had to go through the same path. If there was any God, I don't know if it exists, even they had to go through the same path. Because in this universe, nobody gets a special status. That is the greatness of this philosophy. And that is why the yoga philosophy is so great. Some of the world's top scientists, whether it is Einstein, and also some of the living greatest scientists in the world in America, quite a few of whom I know personally, believes in this philosophy of yoga, because yoga makes you the most powerful element on earth. And that is exactly what you are. So my earnest A to all of you is, from today, please don't think you're a poor individual. Please don't think you're a broken ambassador. You're the most powerful entity in this universe. You are God Himself. So there's nothing in earth that you cannot have or you cannot enjoy. The only thing that is preventing you is understanding the science, and more importantly, practicing the science. You have to practice the science. It is not a miracle. You have to practice every day. I mean, if you want to be Rambo, if you want to be Arnold Schwarzenegger or any of the Hollywood or Bollywood heroes, you don't get muscle in one day. You know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was a governor of California, he went to the gym for 22 years. That's why he has got a 22-inch bicep. So if you want to live for 90 years with a memory, just like Vivekananda, who was given a book, he just went through all the pages in few minutes, and then the guy asked him questions about matter in that book. He told them verbatim. That comes from memory, comes with practice of meditation. If your mind is filled with stress, if your mind is filled with a lot of other trash, then there's no place for all this. So when you replace that, suppose you are living in a small house, you have a small house by yourself, and there's a small veranda you have, small balcony you have. Okay, in that balcony, will you put some flowering plants or will you put some weed? You'll obviously put some flowering plant. So, okay, you have a very small house in Bombay's or Dubai's center business district. You have a small piece of balcony in a small apartment in Manhattan in New York. What will you do? Will you put flowering plant? No. So, or will you put some weeds? You'll obviously put some flowering plant. So all of you, each and every one of you have got a small balcony. That is your brain given by God. So it's your choice. You want to practice meditation to make it super powerful, to keep yourself healthy and put in flowering trees, or let it get filled with weeds of anger, worry, jealousy, and disease. With that, I will end. I am more than willing to take any questions. Namaskar.
Very beautiful explanation of the science behind yoga and how important it is to practice yoga. Thank you, Dr. Basu Ray, for your enlightening talk. I now hand over the forum to Dr. Satish Krishnanji, President of SIF UA Qatar, chapter, for the question answer session. Any questions?
What a wonderful exposition of the science behind yoga. It was an enthralling experience, to say the least. Looking at all the questions that I've been getting on my Facebook Live from international people and on the chat sessions here, and because we are running behind schedule, I would set the ball rolling by asking Professor Indranill, does he practice or does he prescribe yoga for his patients with atrial fibrillation, since there has been a study on atrial fibrillation and yoga helping those patients.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've been practicing yoga for a long time because so I started practice by myself when I was 6 years of old. Then before my medical school, I actually got initiated into a powerful yoga system, which is quite a few of you might have heard about that. It's called the Kriya Yoga. So the lineage is with Mahatar Babaji, and then there is Lahiri Mahashaya, then there is Paramahansa Yogananda. My guru is, so after Babaji is Yukteswar Giri, and my guru is a direct disciple of Yukteswar Giri and Paramahansa Yogananda, which is who is the disciple also of Yukteswar Giri. And Paramahansa Yogananda, as you know, is the most powerful person who spread yoga in the West after Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda actually even 50 years before Paramahansa Yogananda actually predicted him coming. If you read the book Autobiography of a Yogi, you'll see the power of Kriya Yoga. The good thing is that Steve Jobs, who as you all know is the founder of Apple, Steve Jobs read it every year of his life, every year. So he must have read it like a few million times. And he says actually even in multiple lectures that every year he read it, he got new inspiration, which he used to not only to create, remember he created Apple, he got kicked out from Apple, he was in the wilderness for a long time, then he created Pixel, then with the help of Pixel, it was then he came back and he recaptured Apple, and then few like 10, 15 years before his death, he was again the chairman of Apple, and Apple changed the life of digital in the world, as you know. So when he died, in his funeral, everybody was given a copy of Autobiography of a Yogi, including the then President of America, Barack Obama, who visited his funeral. So all the guests were given. So I've been practicing Kriya Yoga for many years now. So yoga is a very powerful science. Yes, absolutely. Not only for atrial fibrillation, for a lot of, I teach yoga to a lot of people. And we are actually doing even a study which actually includes artificial intelligence as well as yoga on frontline workers, people who are in the front line fighting COVID, to see how we can use a combination of artificial intelligence and prove how yoga protects against COVID. Yes, to answer your question, absolutely. I use yoga, I teach yoga, I teach doctors. I've done multiple, what in India you call, what in America you call continuing medical education. I've taught many physicians how they can use yoga in their practice also, including physicians for some of the topmost facilities in America, like Cleveland Clinic. I have taught them how to use yoga as part of their clinical practice or day-to-day practice.
Yes, a relevant question from one of my colleagues from Kolkata, Dr. Buddhadev Sengupta. He inquires, is cancer a lifestyle disease? Do we find any association at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's like not even 90%, 100% chance it's a lifestyle disease. We know this now because certain countries like China, India, their cancer is extremely low. And whereas in the Western nation, cancers are extremely high. And one of the reasons for this is, and things are changing in India, unfortunately, we like to ape the West. So what has happened in India is, like when I was a kid, I remember in my house, maybe once a month we had, we were a non-veg family, being a Bengali, we used to have like goat meat or maybe once a month, or chicken maybe maybe once a week. But today, just like America, you find people having beef and goat meat and lamb and chicken for breakfast, lunch, dinner. Whereas countries, typically China, India, where it has been typically a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits, having plain handmade rotis, which has got a lot of fibers, the cancers are extremely low. Plus stress, as I said, there is a huge number of oncologists who believe that some of the cancers can actually be precipitated by stress, because when you have a lot of stress, body's ability to prevent mutagenesis, which is the cause of cancer, may be decreased. So yes, and as I said again, and I repeat, there have been tons of studies where people with known cancer who practice meditation despite having all the modern disease, all the modern medicine. So they took people with all the modern medicine, two groups, one who had taught meditation and one group who had not taught meditation, but both the group got all the latest medicine surgery. And those who had taught meditation, change in lifestyle, they lived much, much longer. Generally, like say stage 4 breast cancer, you live for 2 to 3 years, and which is thankfully hardly known nowadays. In the West, the greatest killer is breast cancer. But people who are taught meditation, change in lifestyle, who had less stress, who are more happy, they live for 8 to 10 years despite having stage 4 breast cancer. These are actual trials, and we do not know why. People, when they did research, they found out that yoga plays a big role. So yes, lifestyle plays a big role in possibly both in occurrence of cancer and also in people who have already had cancer and is a cancer survivor, in preventing relapse, or those who already have relapse, in preventing or in extending life and preventing early death.
Thank you for that, Dr. Indranill. For shortage of time, I would just ask you two questions related to each other. What do you think about the stress levels in early teenagers nowadays? And are there any stress level indicators that you have, like we can measure temperature?
No, so youngsters have extremely low, extremely high stress level. And the funny part is that I want to point out this study. So in a lab in Michigan where they did a lot of studies, including they studied even the brain of monks and people sent by Dalai Lama and all. So they found that young kids, who have stress, when you teach them meditation, in a couple of weeks, their brain becomes extremely powerful. They tend to get good memory. All the stress evaluators that we have, like functional MRI, PET scan, they are decreased. Now, the question is, unfortunately, we did not have a lot of material through which we can see stress, but now we are having, because now we have intelligent artificial intelligence in form of watches which can tell you skin conductance, show you the heart rate. Some of the watches can also show heart. Unfortunately, they are extremely costly and they are not widely available, but my belief is that in the next 10-15 years, these watches will become cheap also, where you can check heart rate variability. So there are a lot of measures which we are actually using now for experimental reasons, for experimental purposes, where artificial intelligence can be used to check amount of stress. But this is still in, it's slowly getting to the consumer, but the cost of like a chest patch or watches which have all these are extremely costly, maybe $200, $300 each watches. So 90% of the people in the world cannot buy it. And in some cases, it's completely experimental. But with the passage of time, slowly we'll have this in everybody's wrist, and they can check their stress, their HRV, their heart rates, and stuff like that.
Thank you once again, Dr. Indranill. Words cannot express our gratitude to you for sharing all your valuable thoughts and for taking time out from your busy schedule to be with us. For shortage of time, I think we need to conclude this session. Thank you.
Namaskar. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for the session, Satishji. I would now like to invite Sri Prashant Dharmarajji of the Bahrain SIF chapter to present the vote of thanks.
Namaste. Padma Shri Vaidirajesh Kotecha, Secretary, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. His Excellency Pawan Kumar, Ambassador of India to UAE, our keynote speaker, Dr. Indranill Basu Ray, Sri Jayan Sahasrabuddhe, National Organization Secretary, Vigyan Bharati, India, representative and officials from Indian embassies in Middle East countries, Sri Abgar Ravindra Babu, Organizing Secretary, SIF Middle East, our most valued invited guest. We have a big audience here today of scientists, school principals, doctors, engineers, teachers, businessmen, and sponsors. Hope I have not missed out any. Representative and office bearers of SIF Middle East countries, viewers on all social media platforms, a very good evening to all. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this special occasion. A big thank you to Padma Shri Vaidya Kotecha, Secretary, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, for the inaugural speech. I would like to express our sincere thanks to Sri Vaidya Kotecha. We express our sincere thanks to His Excellency Pawan Kumar, Ambassador of India to UAE. On behalf of SIF Middle East countries, I extend my thanks to His Excellency for the continuous support provided to SIF initiatives. We also extend our sincere thanks to His Excellency Vipul, Consulate General of India, Dubai. We are really grateful to have Dr. Indranill Basu Ray, staff cardiologist and electrophysiologist, Memphis VA Medical Center, USA, for his keynote address on the special occasion of International Day of Yoga. He is one of the well-known doctors in the world, and I'm sure today we have all more insight of this topic than what we had before. On behalf of SIF Middle East countries, I would like to express our sincere thanks to Dr. Indranill Basu Ray. Thank you, sir, for being with us today. I would like to express our deep sense of gratitude to Sri Jayan Sahasrabuddhe, National Organizing Secretary, Vigyan Bharati, India, for always providing us with the necessary suggestions for improvement and as a constant source of energy. Thank you, Sahasrabuddha-ji. We are very much grateful to Mr. Anand Prakash with his passion for science join us today from Embassy of India to Brazil. We fondly remember his active participation while he was in Bahrain during our science propagation programs for children. We hereby sincerely thank the invited guests from all Middle East countries for gracing this occasion. Thank you all. We express our sincere thanks to IT and social team of SIF Middle East countries who made this event a great success. Thank you all. I also extend my thanks to all media people from the GCC countries who support SIF activities. Last but not the least, if we miss any one of you, please accept our sincere thanks and appreciation from the bottom of our heart. Once again, thanking all. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Prashant.
Namaste.
Thank you, Prashant ji. Just before we conclude this session, I would like to inform all our viewers that SIF will be celebrating International Day of Yoga tomorrow, and the same will be streamed on FB Group Prana and will be attended by Honorable Minister Dr. Harshavardhan ji. Now we come to the end of this wonderful session. Thank you all for joining us. Good evening. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.